Lionel Messi is a phenomenal athlete. That will never be in doubt. He's arguably the greatest the game of football has ever seen. But the truth is, he doesn't look like the ideal athlete. If you were asked to build your perfect athlete, you surely would not build a 5'7" man. Messi is not tall, not big, and hardly muscular, so it might be difficult to glorify the body he has. But when you look back at where he is coming from, you have no choice but to appreciate the transformation that body has undergone. As you know, Messi started playing football very early in his life, back when he was still in Argentina. He was with Newell's Old Boys at the time after joining them at just 6 years of age, and everyone who watched the little boy play back then could tell that he was an absolute phenomenon. He was dazzling, mesmerizing. You saw him play and just knew he was going to be a superstar. But then, something happened when he was just 10 years old, something that really threatened his budding football career. Little Lionel Messi was diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, and will have you know that the most noticeable symptom of this condition is a short height, shorter than average. Things looked really bleak at the time because there wasn't even enough money to properly treat him in the long run. The growth hormone treatment cost $1,000 per month, and his dad's health insurance was enough for only 2 years of treatment. So, while he was getting treatment at that time, they also had to think about what would happen when the insurance could not cover it again. His club at the time, Newell's Old Boys, initially promised to contribute to the treatment, but they later reneged. Another Argentinian club, River Plate, wanted to sign him, but they were not down to pay for the treatment. That was the story of 10-year-old Messi. While everybody could testify that he was a precocious talent who could take the world by storm, nobody wanted to touch him because it was an insane investment, one whose returns they could not guarantee at the time. But a certain club all the way from Catalonia took a chance on the diminutive Argentinian, offering him a contract on a paper napkin, and the rest, as they say, is history. Due to his condition, Messi was stuck at the height of 4 feet 2 inches for the longest, so he had to take injections every single day. He said himself that at first his parents would administer the shots to him every day, but when he was 12, he learned to do it himself, injecting his own legs once every night before bed. Now, take a look at this. At the time he was diagnosed, Messi was only 4 feet 2 inches tall, with no hope of getting much taller. Now, he stands at 5 feet 7 inches and is far from being the shortest footballer in world football, towering over the likes of Lorenzo Insigne, Santi Cazorla, and even his teammate Marco Verratti. So how did the Argentina captain go from being so small to being a 5 foot 7 inches tall man from whom you could never get the ball? Obviously, his treatment helped. You could say it had the biggest effect. In fact, however, a few other things were integral. And you cannot talk about Messi's physical transformation without mentioning a certain name, Paco Sorello. If you have been supporting Barcelona for long enough, then that name will probably ring a bell. He was a physical trainer at Barcelona back in the 2000s, and his methods really aided Messi's growth. He implemented periodized training, which helped Messi a lot, as massive amounts of training would have left him exhausted most of the time, thereby hardly yielding any results. He also had special training structures which catered strictly to Messi and his special needs. He infused a lot of sprint training, slaloms, and jumping exercises into Messi's routine, and you have to say, they yielded awesome results. Though he was not the biggest nor was he the strongest, it was, and still is, extremely difficult to get the ball off Lionel Messi when he has it at his feet. His speed and endurance were also massively developed, so he was able to go entire games with impressive speed and energy. But speaking of going entire games, it wasn't just the training that helped with that. The former Barcelona captain also had to correct his eating habits to be able to perform better on the pitch. Once upon a time, Messi used to throw up pretty often mid-game. Oh yes, you may not remember, but it happened quite often back when he was younger, and he himself confessed it was due, in huge part, to his very poor eating habits. Back then, he would eat any and everything that came his way: soda, chocolates, candy, pizza, red meat, everything. And if you're an athlete, you know how bad those things are for you. And apparently, Messi's system reacted to those things worse than the average person's. and that's what made him puke that often during games and become so weak afterwards. But after he corrected that and started eating more fish, salads, and meat, not only did he stop throwing up during games, he started to look better, and he became fitter. We have to say, though, he didn't just wake up one day and turn a new leaf on his own. When he was always vomiting, he took his problems to an Italian nutritionist named Giuliano Pozza. It was Pozza who turned his diet around, kicking out those unhealthy foods and replacing them with much healthier options like vegetables, whole grains, fresh fruits, nuts, and seeds, and of course, water. The diet change not only made Messi healthier, it also put him in a better physical shape over time. And speaking of physical shape, of course, his workout routines have had a huge role to play in that. Messi does not have the broadest chest or shoulders. He doesn't even have a 6 or 8 pack. But like we have mentioned before, he is one of the hardest players to get the ball off. Have you ever wondered why that is? Yes, his low center of gravity is a huge factor, but it's also because of his insane core and leg strength. Messi's training routines are probably not as rigorous as that of, say, Cristiano Ronaldo or Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The Argentine prefers to focus more on agility and flexibility training. That's why you notice he is excellent at turning players around, even in the tightest of spaces, and also changing the pace as quickly as he wants to. Some specific workout routines the PSG number 30 does are lunges, pillar skips, as well as the pillar bridge front, hamstring stretches, and of course acceleration drills. These workouts are focused on his legs. That's why he can accelerate easily and also hit a rocket with his left foot. For his agility training, he'll basically just skip past cones, diagonal hurdles, or any other obstacle really. That helps him improve lateral movements. He also does multiple reps of the good old crunches, sit-ups, and leg raises to improve his core strength. Then of course he does the ones you expect every athlete to do, like running on the treadmill, squats, and basic weight training. So basically, Messi didn't just sprout due to natural causes. For his body to experience that brilliant transformation, he had to undergo major life changes in his diet, lifestyle, training, and of course, in his unique case, medical treatment. So, if you want to experience the type of physical transformation Lionel Messi's body has gone through in recent years, maybe start by taking out soda, junk, and sugary foods out of your diet. Can you do that? The next step could be trying to include Messi's favorite dish of roasted chicken with root vegetables in your diet. How do we know that's his favorite dish? FC Barcelona revealed that on their official Twitter page in 2020. They even gave away the secret recipe to the fans so you can prepare it in your own home. All you'll need is about 30 grams of olive oil, a bunch of carrots, a bulb of onion, fresh thyme, about 800 grams of potatoes, 1 leek, 4 chicken thighs, 4 smashed garlic cloves, and some salt. Going around making this dish is easy. All you have to do is preheat the oven to about 200 degrees centigrade, then add your olive oil and salt to your roasting tray. After that, add your chopped carrots, potatoes, leek, all the vegetables. Then finally, you add your chicken. Once you have done all that, leave it to roast at 190 degrees for about 45 minutes. That's just 1/2 of a football game. Feed on this enough times and you may just start seeing those Messi-like transformations in your body. But don't expect to develop the otherworldly skills he possesses too. That, surely, is not part of the package.